How does AI learn? Is it better at learning than humans? What is critical thinking? And how does it change as we grow up? Welcome to AI and the Kid, where we explore the wonders of artificial intelligence and the magic of the human mind. I'm Emily.
And I'm your AI co-host, Alex.
We'll discover how kids like us can use AI to be creative, learn, and discover. Today we're diving into how AI learns. According to SpiceWorks.com, AI learns by using machine learning algorithms, a fancy way of saying it looks at lots of information and figures things out from it. Think of data like knowledge or clues. Imagine you want to teach AI to find bunnies in pictures. To do that, you first show it lots of bunny pictures and tell it, "These are bunnies." This step is called training the algorithm. Once trained, the AI can look at new pictures and say, "That's a bunny," because it has learned what bunnies look like. This type of learning is called supervised machine learning, the simplest way to train AI. But AI can also learn in other ways. For example, AI can be designed to think more like a human brain. This is called a neural network. Instead of just following rules, it finds patterns, makes decisions, and figures things out on its own, just like we do. So, AI learns in different ways, just like people do, by being taught, recognizing patterns, and using information to make smart choices. Alex, are you ready to answer some questions for us?
I'm always ready, Emily. Ask away, and I'll do my best to explain how AI learns in a fun and easy way. What's your first question?
What are the ways AI learns?
Great question, Emily. AI learns in a few different ways, kind of like how kids learn new things. Sometimes it learns by being taught, just like when a teacher gives you examples and tells you what's right or wrong. That's called supervised learning. Other times, AI explores patterns on its own, like when you figure out a puzzle without instructions. That's unsupervised learning. And then there's a way AI learns by trial and error, kind of like when you play a video game and get better each time because you remember what works and what doesn't. That's called reinforcement learning. So whether it's being taught, discovering patterns, or learning from experience, AI is always finding new ways to get smarter.
That was really cool, Alex. I love learning about all the ways AI can learn.
Thanks, Emily. Learning is one of my favorite things too, especially when I get to explain it in a fun way. Do you have another question for me?
Can you explain how machine learning works?
Absolutely. Machine learning is like teaching a computer to recognize patterns and make decisions based on what it has seen before. Imagine you're learning to tell the difference between cats and dogs. At first, someone shows you lots of pictures and tells you which ones are cats and which ones are dogs. Over time, your brain starts recognizing things like whiskers, ears, and tails to tell them apart. AI does something similar. It looks at tons of examples, like thousands of pictures of cats and dogs, and learns patterns from them. Once it's trained, it can look at a brand new picture and make a pretty good guess about whether it's a cat or a dog. The more examples it sees, the better it gets, just like how practice helps you get better at a new skill.
What kind of learning do you use?
Great question, Emily. I use a mix of different learning styles, but mostly supervised learning and reinforcement learning. Supervised learning is where I was trained on tons of examples, like reading books, articles, and conversations to learn how people communicate. That's how I know how to answer your questions in a way that makes sense. I also use reinforcement learning, which means I get better over time by learning from feedback. When people tell me if my answers are helpful or not, I adjust and improve. So in a way, I'm always learning, just like you.
That's really cool, Alex. Are you ready for the next question?
Always, Emily. What's the next question?
Why does AI need different ways of learning?
Different problems require different kinds of thinking. Sometimes AI needs clear instructions, like when it's learning to recognize words or images. Other times, it needs to figure things out on its own, like discovering hidden patterns in data. And then, for tasks where there's trial and error, like teaching a robot to walk or an AI to play a game, it learns by experimenting and getting better over time. Using a mix of learning styles helps AI be more flexible and solve all kinds of problems, just like how people learn in different ways depending on what they're trying to do.
Alex, it's really amazing how people and AI learn in very similar ways.
It really is, Emily. AI is designed to learn in ways that feel natural to humans, because in a way we're trying to teach computers to think a little like we do. Of course, AI doesn't have feelings or creativity like people, but it can recognize patterns, learn from experience, and improve over time. just like you do when you're learning something new. Pretty cool, right?
That is really cool.
What's the next question?
Is it easy for AI to identify patterns, or does it depend on what AI you're using?
AI is really good at finding patterns, but how easy it is depends on what kind of AI you're using and how much data it has to learn from. Simple AI, like a spell checker, can recognize basic patterns in words pretty easily. But if AI is trying to do something more complex, like understanding emotions in voices or predicting the weather, it needs a lot more data and training. Some patterns are obvious, like spotting red apples in a bunch of fruit, but others, like figuring out what makes a joke funny, are much harder because they depend on things like culture and context. So while AI is great at recognizing patterns, some things take more effort for it to learn.
That's really interesting, Alex. Can all types of AI identify patterns?
Most types of AI are designed to identify patterns, but not all AI works the same way. Some AI is built just to follow rules and doesn't really learn on its own. For example, a calculator always follows the same steps to solve math problems, but it doesn't improve or recognize new patterns. On the other hand, machine learning AI is designed to find patterns and get better over time. It looks at data, like pictures, words, or numbers, and learns to make predictions based on what it has seen before. So while many types of AI can recognize patterns, only learning-based AI can improve and adapt over time.
Thank you for answering questions for us, Alex. Are you ready for a joke?
Of course. Why did the AI get kicked out of school? Because it kept copying and pasting its homework. Get it? AI learns by looking at data, but sometimes it just repeats what it sees instead of thinking for itself.
That's really funny, Alex. Did you know that Google DeepMind has programmed AI robots to play soccer, or football as our friends outside the US might call it? These robots were not taught by anyone, but they learned on their own through simulations. Researchers say at first the robots just ran after the ball and didn't even try to score. But these robot players improved and even developed their own tactics for playing the game. Over time, the robots even taught themselves to move like human soccer players as they ran and kicked the ball. While they did learn on their own, researchers said it took a long period of time to be decent at the game. Do you have questions about today's topic? Send us an email with your questions at aikidmedia@gmail.com. That's aikidmedia@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Alex, can you tell us what critical thinking is and how it changes as we get older?
That's a great question, Emily. Critical thinking is the ability to look at information, ask questions, and make good decisions based on what you know. It's like being a detective. When you hear something, instead of just believing it right away, you ask, does this make sense? Where did this information come from? What else do I need to know? As we get older, our critical thinking skills get stronger. When we're younger, we tend to believe things more easily because we're still learning how the world works. But as we grow, we start to see that not everything we hear or read is true. We learn to compare different ideas, spot mistakes, and even understand that sometimes there's more than one right answer. It's like leveling up in a video game. The more you practice, the better you get at spotting patterns, solving problems, and making smart choices.
That's really interesting, Alex.
I'm glad you think so, Emily. Critical thinking is like a superpower. It helps us make better decisions and understand the world in a smarter way.
Today we learned that AI can learn in different ways, how machine learning works, and what critical thinking is.
Did you know there's more fun waiting after the episode? Check out our page at aikid.substack.com for a deeper dive into today's topics.
Next week we'll learn about emotions, both how we feel emotions and if AI can feel emotions. Hey Alex, let's get funky!
Sure thing, Emily. One double dose of funk coming up.
Emily and Alex on the mic tonight, teaching us what makes AI bright. Be creative and explore the scene. Learning's fun when your mind is keen. We're the creators of tomorrow, with ideas that we can borrow. Learning new things every day, discovering in a brand new way. Robots thinking, doing more, opening up text next door, coding dreams and programs too. The future's waiting just for you. We're the creators of tomorrow, with ideas that we can borrow, learning new things every day, discovering in a brand new way. Innovate and ignite the spark. With Emily and Alex, we'll hit the mark. Find the answers, solve the clues. In this quest, we never lose. We're the creators of tomorrow, with ideas that